Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to r/AmITheButthole, one of my personal favorite subreddits where I've searched far and wide to bring you some of the juiciest stories I could find. And this first one by user/ShotTown2 is absolutely amazing, so let's get straight into it. My 27 male girlfriend, 25 female, is really into what she calls self-care. We don't live together, but I spend the night at her place and have to shower there before work a lot. Whenever I shower there, she asks me not to use her shampoo and conditioner, and to use the other ones in the shower. I thought this was weird and asked her why the other day. She told me she buys custom shampoo. I looked it up and it costs $32 to order. I think that's such a waste of money and told her that. I've used this stuff and it isn't any different from any other shampoo. I feel like she's being scammed and is just wasting her money on vanity. She doesn't agree and I wanted to help her see what I mean. I bought shampoo and conditioner the same color from the brand my mum uses. I think it's called VO5, and replaced the stuff in her bottles. After she showered the other day, I told her how nice her hair looked. She responded, "That's why I use my custom shampoo." So, she proved my point. I told her what I did and she freaked out just because I threw her stuff away and helped her save money. She told me to leave and got really upset and said I made her feel dumb. Now she texted me that she has to reconsider if I'm emotionally mature enough for her. She's being crazy, but am I a butthole? What does shampoo have to do with emotional maturity? Look, OP, I see where you're coming from, not wanting to waste money on things you don't see as important, but still, you're the butthole. Because the shampoo's important to her, it makes her feel better about herself, and you've just gone out and made her feel dumb, which isn't a nice thing to do. But in one of his edits, OP brings up a very interesting point, so I think I'll include it. I've gotten messages from dudes supporting me and telling me I did the right thing. They used vulgar, gross, and demeaning language to talk about my girlfriend. If that's the kind of person my actions are resonating with, I'm more than willing to accept that I was a major butthole and owe my girlfriend a humongous apology. That really showed me how stubborn I was being over such a petty thing, and it should not have come to this point. I didn't consider the deeper implications and the way she would feel. You guys really helped me understand the magnitude of what I did. I'm embarrassed and I'm sorry. Thank you for your insightful and mostly kind-hearted responses. And it's good to see that this subreddit does have its uses. Nice work, guys. And here's our next post by user/throwawayshoes12345. A few months ago, I broke my ankle. I needed surgery with 3 plates and 12 screws to reconstruct my tibia and fibula. I've been walking thanks to PT, but it's very slow going, and due to high arches, I have a difficult time without shoes. Can I walk without shoes? Definitely. But I prefer not to, and I find that I need to take less pain medication and have less pain at night when I keep shoes on. I would say that the only time I don't wear shoes in my apartment is when I go to bed at this point. My husband and I visited his co-worker's house for dinner last Saturday. I was wearing a pair of sneakers, pretty much the most supportive pair of shoes I have right now. The co-worker's wife asked me to take off my shoes. I politely explained that I recently had ankle surgery, and it was less painful for me to keep my shoes on. She insisted that I take my shoes off because she has a shoe-free household. Look, I get it. I normally hate wearing shoes, but I don't want to be in pain all night because of her house rules. I asked if I could perhaps wash my shoes off somehow, like with a hose in the backyard or in a sink they don't use. She refused. She said she has guest slippers I can use if I'd like, but I looked at them and they're those floppy types that are really just big socks. I said they wouldn't provide any arch or ankle support, so those won't help me, and that I need to keep my sneakers on. At this point, she's standing in the door to her mudroom with her hands out blocking me from entering. Here's where I think I tread into butthole territory. I'm really mad with her, so I snap and say, "Forget this. If your hardwood floor's more important than guest's health, then I'm out." I stormed off and waited in the car for my husband to come back. He arrived 2 minutes later and said that he agrees that it's ridiculous that I wasn't allowed to keep my shoes on, but that I was a big butthole when I yelled at her. He also pointed out that I can walk without sneakers, so I really didn't need to make a big fuss. I do feel a little guilty because he said things have been chilly with his co-worker now. Am I the butthole? Now, Reddit has decreed that everyone sucks here, but I think I'm going to say not the butthole. I personally live in what has been described as a shoe 3 household, but I don't see any reason not to accommodate someone's injury. Sure, maybe yelling at the host wasn't the best move and may cause some problems, but I feel like you did have a fully logical and understandable reason to wear your shoes, so not the butthole. And here's our next post by user/professionaltune9. I'm the general manager of a donut shop franchise. We live in a small coastal community and our town is on the tip end of a peninsula. We're at the end of the world here and getting to our town is kind of a hassle with only 2 ways in or out. And both have long commute times. Let's call my town Donut Town. I have an employee, Hannah, who I hired about 6 months ago. Hannah lives 2 towns over from Donut Town in a place we'll call Hannahville. Hannahville and Donut Town are separated by 30 miles or about 45 minutes of drive time, if you're coming from Hannahville. If you come from the only other road in town, it's even longer. I saw Hannah at her previous job and liked her customer service abilities, so I offered her a job. I warned her that the commute to Donut Town is long and hellish, and she would be held to the same standards as my other employees, who all live in Donut Town. On that note, she accepted the job and assured me that she'd allow herself the proper time to get to work each day. She actually shows up early every day, so I made a deal with her that I'd let her off a little early each day so she can avoid after-school traffic. It's working out nicely. Each month, we have a staff meeting in which myself, all of the assistant managers, the entire staff, and our store owners are required to be present. We discuss any news regarding the store, new sales, things being discontinued, and open the floor for employees to raise issues if need be. We have the meetings on the same Friday each month. Unfortunately, that's also one of Hannah's days off. I've tried to get the owners to move the staff meetings to a day that's more convenient for Hannah, but the owners have refused to change the day because they own several other businesses they visit each month, and changing our visit date would mean changing the other dates, which is kind of BS because all they'd have to do is swap with another store. But I don't have the authority to tell them their business. We clock in for these meetings and we're paid to attend. It's on the employee schedule and I always announce it 2 weeks before it happens. And just like a normal shift, absence and tardiness is penalized. 1 is a warning, 2 is a written warning, 3 is a write-up, 4 or more is my discretion. Hannah has missed 6th, and every time I take her for a conversation, she whines about having to drive an hour each way. My position is she knew the commute when she got hired. She's had no trouble on the days she works. She knows these meetings are required. She's missed all 6 meetings since she's been hired, and currently has 4 write-ups. Would I be a butthole if I suspend her for a small period of time as punishment for continual tardiness/absence? Look, OP, my decision is based fully on one thing. Did Hannah have a choice in the shifts that she works, and did she know about the meeting? If she knew about the meeting and chose not to work a Friday, then it's totally her fault, and I've got to say, not the butthole. At the same time, if she either had no choice in her shifts, or she didn't know about the meeting, then I'm sorry, but you're the butthole. And you do say that the punishment is at your discretion, so how about no punishment? Because that's just unreasonable, expecting someone to show up for work for 3 hours on their day off. And here's our next post by user/SK042264. So I was just at the grocery store and I was unloading my carriage in line. I walked around the side of my cart to the front side, opposite side from where one stands when pushing the carriage to pay at the terminal. I hadn't yet moved my carriage forward, but apparently I was accidentally blocking the person behind me in line from pushing his carriage forward enough to unload his items. Why he didn't walk around in front of his carriage like I did, where he would have had more space, I don't know. But he insisted on forcing me forward so far that he could unload his items standing on the push side of the carriage. He was probably about 75 years old. He didn't say a word, he didn't say excuse me or please move forward or anything. He just started bumping my carriage with his own, pushing against my carriage with his own aggressively. I ignored it for a second, thinking it was an accident, but he persisted. Finally, I turned, said, "Can I help you?" And he kept bumping my carriage. I asked, "Are you trying to ask me to move forward?" I didn't shove back, but in a very agitated voice I said, "I'm only saying this once. When you want something from someone, you use your words like an adult. Use your manners. Say please and thank you. I should not need to explain this to you. You should know it by now. Don't bump into my cart again. Got it? Good." and I didn't move forward at all until I'd finished paying and was exiting the line. He never asked me, never said please or thank you, and never verbally articulated his request. Someone in the next line over said that I was being aggressive and could have said it more nicely. As far as I'm concerned, the other man was the aggressor. I didn't physically push back, I simply used my words to explain why his behavior was unacceptable. He doesn't get a pass due to his age. Now, the way I tend to judge these posts and splitting them between Youre The Butthole and ESH is seeing how far each person went. For example, if one person started yelling at another and the other yelled back, that would be an ESH situation because both just yelled at each other. But if one person has tormented someone for many years, as is often the case in many stories, and OP just snapped and yelled at the other person once, I would tend to go not the butthole. Just because the one thing they did is almost nothing compared to the many offenses of the other person. Here, the old man is definitely in butthole territory because pushing someone else's cart is definitely not a nice thing to do and a very strange thing to do at that. I didn't mind OP using their words to tell the person off, I think that was fairly reasonable. But what gets me is intentionally not moving their cart just to be in the way, which I think is a bit annoying and sorta moves them into butthole territory. I know I'm overanalyzing this story and maybe I should just get on with it, but I think I'm going to go with everyone sucks here, not for telling off the dude, but because they didn't move their carriage and ended up intentionally being annoying, which I think is definitely butthole territory. And here's our next post by user/DockyBurn. My bridesmaid and I have been friends for a long time. She's always been on the heavier side, but for the last few years, each time I see her, she's put on more and more weight. Her mother is also obese and has countless health conditions due to her weight and diet. I've been concerned about my bridesmaid for a while, so I've invited her to come with me to the gym. She almost always bails. I come over and make healthier versions of her favorite foods, we go on walks instead of driving, and etc. A long time ago, I found the perfect bridesmaid dress. However, after more research, my bridesmaid's size is a few sizes larger than the largest dress size. I've let her know a year and a half in advance the situation, and she insists on me keeping the dress and that she would lose weight. She seemed very excited about it and said this would be her motivation. I bought the dresses and ordered hers in the size she said she would become by the time of the wedding. It's been a year since I've told her, and I continuously see her post stories of her eating whole pizzas, drinking several sodas a day, and laying in bed watching Netflix all day. I'm very concerned for her health, but I travel for work and can't see her often to make food and go on walks with her. Would I be the butthole for telling her she can't be my bridesmaid anymore if she can't fit into her dress? Look, this one's rough because you were honest with your bridesmaid. You told her that, hey, I'm happy to order different dresses or find something in a different size for you. But your bridesmaid intentionally refused it and said, no, I want this. So I say, in general, not the butthole. If maybe your bridesmaid can come up with a creative solution to this problem and you still include her, well then that's perfectly fine. But as it stands, I think you were fair and reasonable, so not the butthole. But with that story, I think I will finish, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for Reddit videos 3 times every single week. But with that said, that is it from me. I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.